Good morning, everyone. I am Kirani Warang, and we are here to present Chapter 5 Marketing Analytics. So, to start off, one of the most important decision making tools in marketing is the Customer Relationship Management, or also known as CRM. A systematic tracking of consumers' preferences and behaviors over time to tailor the value proposition as closely as possible to each individual's unique wants and needs. CRM systems are used as a central hub for customer data, integrating various data sources that can be used to develop analytical capabilities oriented towards enhancing an organization's relationship with its customers. CRM systems enable interaction through immense amounts of data between customers and marketers like never before. Thousands of vendors nowadays sell technology with the sole purpose of marketing analytics. This surge has led to a new category of technology called MarTech. MarTech, which is short for marketing technology. MarTech is used to denote the fusion of marketing and technology. A particular focus is placed on the application of marketing through digital technologies. As we all know, prioritizing the satisfaction of customers' needs and wants is very important. A business can do this through CRM programs. These programs allow firms to talk to individual customers and to adjust certain aspects of their marketing programs according to a customer's response. CRMs facilitate one-to-one marketing, which allows customization of some aspects of the good or services that are offered to each customer. There are several steps when it comes to one-to-one marketing. The first one is to identify customers and get to know them in as much detail as possible. The second one is to differentiate among these customers in terms of both their needs and their value of the company. 3 is to interact with customers and find ways to improve cost efficiency and the effectiveness of the interaction. And the last step is to customize some aspect of the goods or services that you offer to each customer. This means treating each customer differently based on what the organization has learned about him or her through prior interactions. Moreover, CRM systems are applications that use computers, specialized computer software, databases, and often the internet to capture information at each touchpoint, which is any point of direct interface between customers and a company. This can be online, by phone, or even in person. These systems include everything from websites that let you track your package to call centers that help your every need. So basically, CRM is all about communicating with customers and how these customers are able to communicate back with a particular company. It is crucial for a company as it is through CRM how companies act on and manage the information from customers.
Hello guys, my name is Azkira Mutazarifai and I will be presenting about the characteristics of customer-related metrics. There are 3 characteristics of customer-related metrics. The first one is share of customer lifetime value or CLV, and customer prioritization. The first one is share of customer. In order to keep on maintaining its consumers, the CRM firms use share of customer, not share of the market. Share of customer refers to what percentage of an individual customer's purchase of a product over time that is the same brand. Meanwhile, share of the market refers to what percentage of all sales of a particular product or service the firm gets. The firm uses share of customer because it is considered to be easier and less expensive to keep an existing customer than to get a new one. For example, a consumer buys pairs of shoes from various brands. If a firm has a CRM system that allows them to send letters to its current customers, inviting them to receive special prices and discounts if they buy more of the firm's shoes during the year, and the firm succeeded in making the customer buys it, the share of customer will eventually be increased. The second one is customer lifetime value. The customer lifetime value, or we call as CLV, represents how much profit a firm expects to make from a particular customer, including each and every purchase he or she will make from them now and in the future. Therefore, the metric describes the potential profit that a single customer's purchase of a firm's products generates over the customer's lifetime. This strategy considered to be profitable to the company as the company develops long-term relationships with their customers so that the customer will buy from them again and again. The cost will be lower and the profits will be higher. In contrary, if it is the customer's first time sale, the cost will be higher and the profits will be lower. How to calculate CLV is by dividing the margin with 1 plus discount rate minus the retention rate and minus the acquisition cost. In practice, CLV calculations firms use may be more complex because the factor in changes that occur in the relationship with a customer from one period of time to the next that do not assume constant values over the whole relationship. Furthermore, it will become more complex if it combines the defined tiers within its customer loyalty programs. Likelihood that in a given period of time a customer will move from one tier to another. The last one is customer prioritization. Using the CRM approach, the firm prioritizes its customers and customizes its communication to them accordingly. The firm uses CRM systems in order to generate a profile of each customer based on several factors, such as value, risk, attrition, and interest in buying its products. The system will help the firm to decide which current or potential customers that will be targeted with certain communications. For example, personal selling may constitute 75% of all contacts with high-volume customers, whereas direct mail or telemarketing is more often the best way to talk to low-volume customers.
Hello, my name is Irel Malika Rustomo. Okay, so moving on to objective 5.2 about big data, marketing analytics. Okay, so the very definition of big data is the exponential growth of both structured and unstructured data in large amounts that are difficult or impossible to process using traditional database techniques. One of the examples that the usage of big data may be beneficial for a company or a user is Netflix, as they use big data to gather consumer data from its website to see consumer viewing habits and content preferences, which was used to direct their first show, House of Cards, to the right audience, which also contributed to the show's huge success. Okay, so big data in a marketing big data to in perspective for marketing purposes. The three purpose of big data usage is to identify new opportunities through analytics that can obtain the company in higher rates of return on investment through their marketing efforts, turning insights they gain into products and services that are better aligned with the desires of the customers. So adjusting to the wants of the customers, to the demands of the customers. And also the last one is to deliver communications on product and services to the marketplace more efficiently and effectively. Okay, so large amount of data or big data and the Internet of Things is one of the trending ways to analyze data. It is a system where everyday objects connects to the internet and will be able to communicate information through an interconnected system. So the big data origins, they can come from two types of data, two types of sources, which are direct path and indirect path. The direct path is when users supply personal information, such as model, type of car that they like. The information will then be stored in the car dealership's database and will be used by a salesperson to contact that user. The indirect path is a byproduct of another action. For example, people who hold a college degree are more likely to purchase a hybrid car. Therefore, they might receive a communication about a Honda Prius or other hybrid cars, even if they have not previously asked about these vehicles. The sources of big data for marketers, marketing executives, or even marketing managers came from 5 different sources, which are the first being social media. There are 2 ways of gathering, which is web scraping and sentiment analysis. The web scraping uses software to extract large amounts of data from websites, and sentiment analysis is to identify followers' attitude towards a brand through context or emotion. The second is from corporate IT. The examples are such as CRM, backend website, web analytic, ERP, and accounting databases. The third is through government and non-government organization sources. It is a type of source from government-generated data, such as economic conditions and opportunities from global expansion. The fourth is commercial entity sources, as those companies collect data to be sold to other companies that may derive value from them, such as scanner data, which is data from items scanned at the cash register when people check out with a loyalty card. And the last one is partner database sources. It's a two-way exchange of information between purchasing organizations and other vendors through shared IT systems. Two of the most recent examples of big data is Google Flu and YouTube. So the Google Flu is a software generated by Google, and that which maps possible levels of flu activity around the world in real time. It is based on when the user search flu symptoms, so the Google may assume that the user itself or someone who is close to the user is probably sick. Next one is YouTube. YouTube, they recorded users' watch history, and they will recommend related videos in the future for the users, so they can monitor the users and find videos that the users like. In addition, if a user skips a recommended video, a similar video will less likely to be recommended in the future. Okay, that is probably it.
Okay, so my name is Nadira, and I will explain to you about the next topic, which is data mining. Big data can easily worsen the problem of information overload, in which the marketer is buried in so much data that it becomes nearly paralyzing to decide which of it provides useful information and which doesn't. To take advantage of the massive amount of data now available, a sophisticated analysis technique called data mining is now a priority for many firms. This refers to a process in which analysts sift through big data, which is often measured in terabytes, which is much larger than kilobytes or even gigabytes, to identify unique patterns of behavior among different customer groups. To get a flavor of how data mining aids in marketing decision making, let's consider a couple of examples. The supermarket chain Safeway learned from its data mining efforts in the United Kingdom that the upper 25% of most valuable customers from the chain frequently purchased a cheese that ranked only 209th in sales. Without knowing this, Safeway would have no doubt dropped it from the inventory for poor overall performance. Then we have the web-based travel company Orbitz. They discovered by mining its data that Mac users spend as much as 30% more than PC users on a nightly hotel accommodations. This insight led Orbitz to offer higher-end options more frequently to Mac users. So marketers at powerful consumer data generators like Google, Netflix, Amazon, Facebook, and Twitter are into data mining big time. For example, Facebook has access to vast sums of data created as a result of the various posts, comments, and reactions by the 1 billion plus users that use the social media platform on a daily basis. This can be quite controversial. A source publicly claimed that some contractors within Facebook, known as news curators, may have selectively excluded stories from the trending topics module based on their own personal biases or the company's biases. Algorithm may entail systematic biases as a result of the personal preferences of the designers, developers, and testers involved in its creation. This leads to other potential ethical quandaries about the algorithm's use and performance. We have a shared brand, Solid Gold Bomb, that used an algorithm to automate the design of thousands of variations of a t-shirt all around the concept of modifying the well-known saying of keep calm and carry on. It includes at least one version that featured a distasteful saying. The shirt went viral, and needless to say, a lot of people weren't happy. Data in electronic format can be considered either structured or unstructured. Structured data are what you might find in Excel spreadsheets or statistics. Data sets typically are either numeric or categorical, and they're usually organized and connected in a way that's easy for computers to read, organize, and understand. They can also be inserted in database in a seamless fashion, and typically they can be easily placed within rows and columns. In contrast, unstructured data contain non-numeric information that's typically formatted in a way that is meant for the human eyes and not easily understood by computers. A good example of unstructured data is the body of an email message. The email carries a lot of meaning to a human but possesses a great challenge for a machine to understand or organize. It becomes more challenging to derive meaning from large quantities of unstructured data. However, technology is to the rescue. Significant advances in data analytic technologies make the process of unstructured data analysis easier through the development of computer logic that can search through and extract patterns from large amounts of textual data. Data mining has 4 important applications for marketers. The first is customer acquisition. Many firms include demographic and other information about customers in their database. For example, a number of supermarkets offer weekly special price discounts for store members. These store membership application forms require that customers indicate their age, family size, address, and so on. With this information, the supermarket determines which of its current customers respond best to specific offers and then send the same offers to non-customers who share the same demographic characteristics. The second one is customer retention and loyalty. The firm identifies big spending customers who may or may not be at risk of defecting and then targets them with special offers and inducements other customers won't receive to reward them for their loyalty. The third one is customer abandonment. Strange as it may sound, sometimes a firm wants customers to take their business elsewhere because servicing them actually costs the firm too much. Today, this is popularly called firing a customer. For example, a department store may use data mining to identify unprofitable customers, those who don't spend enough or those who return most of what they buy. The fourth one is market basket analysis. It develops focused promotional strategy based on the records of which customers have bought certain products. For example, Hewlett-Packard carefully analyzes which of its customers recently bought new printers and targets them to receive emails about specials.
Hello, my name is Arfa Regianto, and today I'm going to talk about how marketing analytics can improve marketing performance. Next slide. Marketing analysis. Marketing analytics offer marketers the means of better understanding and analyzing the wealth of data that are now at their disposal. With the proliferation of digital marketing and the speed at which data can be captured and analyzed, marketers are able to gain insights at or near real time in regards to the performance if their marketing investments succeed or not. This capability to analyze across channels, both physically and digitally, affects their performance of different marketing initiatives that provides a mean through which they can precisely identify where the value is being created. Predictive analytics have the potential to help marketers identify outcomes before they occur and in turn make smarter decisions as they plan marketing campaigns and investments. Next slide. How crucial is marketing analysis? Marketing analytics has become an increasingly important part of a marketer's toolbox as technological advances enable consumers to engage in an increasing number of activities online that were previously possible only within the physical space. In general sense, we can think of analysis as the identification, interpretation, and articulation of patterns within data that one or more groups view as meaningful. Digital marketing channels. Digital marketing channels means the path of distribution through which a company's digital marketing communications can be delivered to reach their prospective audience. Next slide. Connect digital marketing channels to marketing analytics. One of the perennial challenges marketers face is being able to determine the effectiveness of different marketing campaigns and channels. That is because it is not always clear where a lead came from or what led to a purchase by a consumer without being able to track it from its origin. For instance, did a consumer learn about and ultimately purchase a product because of the commercial he or she saw on TV, or because of the ad he or she saw in a magazine, or perhaps both? For traditional media such as TV and magazine, it is not always clear what actions yield the greatest impact for a marketer. On the next slide, this is an example of a marketing channel of a fake clothing email that will be sent to people to test them on how they can see the effectiveness of this marketing product. In here, the user action would be to open the email and review its contents. B, the consumers would click the Get Started Shopping Now button to go to the company's website. And then after that, opening the email. And then they would click a specific button. And then the marketing analytics application would be the percentage of recipients who opened the email, and B, the percentage of email recipients who opened the email who then clicked on the link to the websites. The example consideration for marketers related to analytics application for A was the subject line of the email effective at capturing the attention and interest of the email's recipients? B, how effective was the consent of the email at conveying the purpose of the email and its relevance to its recipients? Next slide. User action. Review the fall collection page and click on the fall sweater for her image link to go to the individual page. And then the example of the data recorded would be a specific image link clicked on the page that the link is on. The marketing analytics application for this would be the percentage that each page, clothing item, accounted for of the total pages that users visited from this page. And the example consideration for marketers related to analytics application would be which pages, clothing items, are consumers visiting after being directed to the fall collection page from the promotional email. If some are more frequently being visited to a significant degree, what might that suggest about the content of the promotional email or the audience being targeted? Next slide. In here, we can see the fall collection for fall sweater for her, which the consumer already wants to add to their shopping cart. The user action would be select this item to the shopping cart button to add the clothing item to the shopping cart. And they will select the checkout link to go to the checkout page. The example of data recorded would be a specific clothing item added to the shopping cart, the specific link clicked on, and the page that the link is on. The marketing analytics application would be the percentage that each individual clothing item accounted for of the total clothing items added to each user's shopping cart, the percentage of clicks that each page accounted for of the total counts of clicks that directed users to the checkout page. The example consideration for marketers related to analytics application would be which clothing items appear to be the most popular among consumers and why. Which pages do consumers tend to visit last before making the decision to proceed to the checkout page? Marketing channel example, the last one. And right now we arrive at the checkout page. In this, the user action would be enter the promotional code fall to 20. Select the continue to payment link to go to the page where the payment is made and finalized. The example of data recorded would be the recording of the promotional code used is dependent on the user selecting continue to payment link. The promotional code input, the specific link clicked on the page that the link is on. The marketing analytics application would be the percentage of users that input the valid promotional code out of those users who selected the continue to payment link for all users directed to the site by the promotional email. The example consideration for marketers related to analytics application would be how effective is the promotional code at motivating consumers to make the sweater purchase. Do consumers seem to purchase more items or spend more when using the promotional code compared to those who did not use it? So, in conclusion, you receive the email in your inbox. You read the subject line and decide to open the email, which is the data recorded. After reviewing the email contents, you decide that you're interested in checking out the fall collection, so you click on the link to the part of the website. Your data is recorded. You take a look at a few of the specific details related to the items by clicking on links items, by clicking on links corresponding to their individual product pages. Your data is recorded. And ultimately, choose to add a sweater to your shopping cart. Your data is recorded. Eventually, you go to the checkout page, input the promotional code, and select a button to process it. And then you paid for the item. So in short, every single promotional item or every single marketing strategy to sell a product, everything is recorded online. So whatever you do, every single step you take is recorded, and then the analytics marketing team would then psychologically check how the promotional marketing strategy sent to its consumers will react, and then they will make a conclusion that this or this will be much more effective at affecting these kind of market segments. And that will be all for me. Thank you.
In digital marketing, there are two types of business models. There's the cost per click model, in which the cost reduction only happens when the ad is clicked. And there is the cost per impression model, in which the cost reduction only happens when the ad shows up on the page the consumer is viewing. For the cost per click, there's the advantage of that it's easier to measure data such as user interaction among others, but the disadvantage is that it's a higher cost since everything is deducted via click. Cost per impression, the advantages are that it provides better value, but the disadvantage is that the data is harder to measure, so it's harder to determine the value of your advertisement that way. Marketing accountability for non-digital channels. Marketing analytics is also needed to determine the value of non-digital marketing, but it is done differently and slightly more complicated. To determine the value of non-digital marketing, marketers need to use specific identifiers such as unique promotional codes, campaign-specific URLs, or campaign-specific phone numbers. Marketing accountability, determining digital marketing investment value. To determine which channel of digital marketing is generating the most sales in terms of costs, one needs to use marketing analytics. In specific, one would need to compare the average cost per customer transaction to the average value of each customer transaction from each channel. Below, I've given an example. From this table, we can see the comparison between costs and transaction per channel and determine the value of each channel. From the table, we can see that Facebook ads hold the highest value due to the fact that the average customer transaction and the average cost per customer transaction, there's a significant difference. But also remember this, When determining value, remember to set clear goals that can be tracked and measured. Predictive analytics. Predictive analytics is the use of a large set of data to help predict potential future outcomes and scenarios. In marketing, predictive analytics help marketers to predict whether their customers are going to defect, help pinpoint the target of specific advertisements, predicting future customer behaviors, and it also helps reduce costs.
Metrics for marketing control. Marketing control is the ability to calculate and track relevant marketing metrics to identify deviations in expected performance, both positive and negative, as soon as they occur. There are three examples of metrics. The first one is the click-through rate. Click-through rate is a metric that indicates the percentage of users or viewers of the advertisement or the page that the link is on who have decided to click on the advertisement in order to visit the website or web page associated with the advertisement. To calculate the click-through rate is by dividing the click-throughs with impressions times 100. Second one is conversion rate. Conversion rate is a popular metric used to look at the effectiveness of digital marketing, which is expressed as a percentage. A conversion based on a consumer's interaction with a web page might be the purchase of a product or a service, or multiple purchases in one sitting, the choice to sign up for a mailing list, or the decision to become a follower of the company via social media. To calculate the conversion rate is by dividing the number of goals achievements with number of website visitors times 100. The third one is cost per order. Cost per order indicates the cost of gaining an order in terms of the marketing investment made to turn a visitor to a website into a customer who has chosen to make a transaction. Within digital marketing, this metric can be broken down by specific campaigns or marketing channels to help marketers to get a more precise idea of how effective their marketing investments are. We can find the cost per order by divide the advertising costs with the orders. Then the next one is margin on sales. Margin on sales represent the difference between the price at which a product is sold and its cost. This metric can be represented as either a dollar amount or as a percentage of the price that the product is sold for. If the margin on sales is in unit, we can find it by selling price per unit in dollar minus cost per unit in dollar. If the margin on sales is percentage, we can divide the unit margin on sales with selling price per unit and times 100. The last one is churn rate. Churn rate is the percentage of a company's customers for a given span of time who by the end of that time span can no longer be considered customers of the company. It is because they have cancelled their contract for a service or they have stopped shopping at a related retail location. To find the churn rate is by dividing the number of customers lost at the end of the prior period with total number of customers at the beginning of the prior period times 100.
So this was all from our group. Thank you for listening, and if there are any questions, we would love to hear from you guys.